Welcome to my world. So when I'm not doing this incredibly exciting work, one of the other things I do is help the Institute with assessing our impact. And for me, that involves counting publications and how often they're cited, and maybe trying to identify trends over time. And this isn't entirely straightforward for organizations, and it's actually just part of our story because a large portion of our output is data. And data don't get cited like other things. So a few programs have asked me to help track use of their data, and one is the National Atmospheric Deposition Program at the Water Survey. And I began in librarian fashion with the traditional cited reference search in the Web of Science, in which I found incomplete and inconsistent metadata for cited works that made it hard to distinguish data from other stuff. And I found that records were limited to what was cited in the actual bibliography. So I went to Google Scholar, I created alerts and had the results emailed to me. I sampled 75 records or 75 works from 2012, and I found that 51 of them actually cited NADP data, but of those 51, more than 80% actually failed to cite it in the bibliography. So that's use that would not get counted in a Web of Science search. Citing data is just not as easy as citing other stuff. Some styles and tools don't offer data as a type of thing to cite, and you can't download citations with a click to EndNote or RefWorks or Mendeley like you can in journal articles. But data citation is a really big deal. The Data Citation Index is a hot, new, and expensive product from Thomson Reuters, makers of Web of Science. It has the same problems that Web of Science has. There are guides to citing data, and organizations have formed around it. Identity matters a lot for data, even if you don't have an evil twin, because attributes we rely on for citation may be absent or ambiguous. So DOIs are in widespread use for other citable objects, and they work for data too. DOI stands for Digital Object Identifier, and they're not magic. They work because they're carefully assigned and maintained in registries in the millions since they were introduced in 2000. The prefix represents the publisher, the suffix represents the resource, and each DOI is unique. And you can do things with DOIs that are handy, like create persistent links. The functionality that we take for granted in online journals, for example, citation linking, is all facilitated by DOIs. The University Libraries e-Research Task Force recommended that the Campus Research Data Service include DOIs for data as a service. So the University Library has subscribed to EZID, which is a service that mints DOIs in the DataCite registry. So now it's possible to get DOIs for our data resources. The DataCite metadata schema has 18 properties, 5 of them are required. It allows for georeferencing, and you can use EZID and DataCite not just for traditional data sets, but for things like code, visualizations, models, that sort of thing. So it's not just straight data tables. DataCite includes features to facilitate data citation, such as downloadable citations that you can import into RefWorks, Mendeley, EndNote, like you can for journal articles. They also push the metadata out to search engines using the Open Archives Initiative protocol for metadata harvesting. So it increases the exposure of data that's registered in the DataCite registry. DataCite is also a target in the University Library's homegrown federated search, Easy Search, where it sits right below the Data Citation Index, which we're buying. We're in the process now of minting DOIs for NADP data. Challenges for NADP are similar to other institute data, and one is that data collection is ongoing, so the DOI must represent data that hasn't been collected yet. Identity matters for authors too, so if you haven't got your ORCID yet, I recommend you get it. Publishers will be including this in submission process, and so will grant funders in the future. You can read more about identifiers of all kinds on the library's blog. I want to thank David Gay, Chris Lehman, and Bob Larson from NADP for allowing me to work with their data and also use them as a poster child for DOIs for data on